for these moments when you just stop by the sanctuary. Thank you for these moments when you remind us that we are not alone. Whatever we stand in need of, your Spirit is here to provide. Oh God, we thank you. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your mercies. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your peace, God. We thank you for your kindness, God. We thank you for your favor, oh Lord. God, we thank you for breakthrough which can be found in the sanctuary. God, we thank you for peace. And God, we thank you that you do respond and you hear and you answer our prayers. God, we say thank you. Thank you for stopping by here. Exodus chapter 14, commencing our reading at verse 10, the New International Version delineates these words. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified, and they cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, was it because there was no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. Let me say once more what they said to Moses. Was it because there was no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. Let me say it one more time. Egypt, 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 Egypt. It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert. Moses answered the people, do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the salvation the Lord will bring you today. Stand firm. You will see the deliverance that the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. For the Lord will fight for you. You need only to stand still. Yeah, I like that. That's one of them scriptures you should put into your memory bank. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to stand still. The Lord will fight for you. Not maybe. The Lord will fight for you. You only need to stand still. If we can, for a few brief moments, we want to attempt to preach from the simple theme, don't lose focus. Don't lose focus. Don't lose focus. Thank you, junior ushers. Come on, let's give our junior ushers a big hand. Don't lose focus. Beloved hearts, Exodus chapter 14 records the Hebrews' dramatic escape from Pharaoh. For over 2 centuries, the once respected Hebrews have been forced to work from sunrise to sunset on state construction projects. For over 2 centuries, the Hebrews have been forced to produce product without needed supplies. For example, in Exodus chapter 5, the Hebrews are required to make bricks without straw. For over 2 centuries, the Hebrews have been forced to meet Pharaoh's insatiable demands for more and more. For over 2 centuries, the Hebrews have been treated as nothing more than cheap labor, as slaves in a foreign land. But soon God hears the desperate cries of his people and sends a deliverer named Moses, who confronts Pharaoh with God's demand to let my people go. Of course, this demand leads to a contest between God and Pharaoh that involves 10 plagues, 10 natural phenomenons. But of course, God soon triumphs over Pharaoh and his henchmen. Now the Hebrews are almost free. Just one more river to cross, just one more mountain to climb, just one more crisis to face. Because when the Hebrews reach the Red Sea, Pharaoh decides to make a last-ditch effort to block the Hebrews' departure and to recapture his free labor. With the Red Sea in front of them and Pharaoh's army behind them, common sense should have told the Hebrews to keep their eyes on the Lord. Common sense should have told them to focus on the God who heard their desperate cries before when Pharaoh forced them to work from sunrise to sunset. Common sense should have told them to focus on the God who sent a deliverer named Moses with God's command to let my people go. Common sense should have told them to focus on the God who led them to freedom with pillars of cloud and fire. Common sense should have told them to keep their eyes on the God who rescued them time after time before. Common sense should have told them to focus on the Lord. But instead, in Exodus chapter 14, the Hebrews choose to obsess over Pharaoh and his armies. Was it because there was no tombs in Egypt that we were carried to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us up out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians to die in the desert. 5 times the Hebrews utter the word Egypt. In other words, the Hebrews are obsessed with Pharaoh and his armies. The Hebrews are preoccupied with their problems. The Hebrews are consumed with their enemies, so much so that their enemies now have control of them. And in the same manner, how often have we too become so obsessed with our problems that our problems now control us? How often have we become so obsessed with our problems that our problems are all we talk about and all we think about and all we dream about? How often have we become so immersed in our situations that we can't see outside of our situation? How often have we formed tunnel vision that we can't see past our present circumstance? How often have we become so troubled with our circumstance that we start to think that our circumstance is more powerful than God? How often have we become so obsessed with what we're going through that we spend our time telling God how big our problem is, and we never tell our problem how big our God is? The Hebrews obsessed over Pharaoh and his armies. But please notice that whenever the Hebrews become so obsessed with Pharaoh and the Hebrews start to believe that their lives are about to be over, please notice that when the Hebrews become so troubled by their pain that they start to think that their life is over, please notice that when the Hebrews become so immersed in their situation that they start to think that they are about to die in the desert, Moses intervenes and tells them, do not fear, stand and see the salvation of the Lord. Whenever the Hebrews become so immersed in their situation that the Hebrews could not see outside of their situation, Moses, the prophet, the priest, and the pastor reorientates their perspective and tells them, just be still, for the Lord will fight for you. And in the same manner, can I just tell someone in this room that one reason that I come to church each week is because sometimes I too become so obsessed with my problem that I can't see outside of my problems. The one reason I come to church each week is because I become so immersed in my situation that I can't see light at the end of the tunnel. But whenever I come to church and I can't see past my problems, I hear sermons and music and scriptures and other saints who refuse to accept the foolish perspective that I have. Whenever I come to church and I start to think that my situation is insurmountable, I come into the house of God and I hear a sermon that reminds me that if God could defeat Pharaoh's armies, if God could drive back the Red Sea, if God could allow the Hebrews to cross on dry land, then I or whenever I come to church and I start to think that I'm useless or that no one loves me because of what I've done in my past, I can come to church and I'm reminded that if God could use a murderer named Moses, if God could use a drunk named Noah, if God could use a lion named Jacob, if God could use an adulterer named David, if God could use a prostitute named Rahab, then I know that my God can use me. Whenever I think that my pain might last forever, I can come to church and I hear weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Whenever I think that my mistake will have the last word in my life, I come to church and I hear all things work together for the good of those who love God. Whenever I think that sickness will have the last word, I come to church and I hear he was wounded for my transgressions, he was bruised for my iniquity, the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes I am healed. Is there anybody here? God, that I came to the church and I got what I needed. I would have hurt somebody, I would have killed somebody. I came to the church, I got what I needed. I would have went over the edge, I would have jumped, I would have put my life. I came to the church and I got what I needed. Everybody glad, everybody glad, everybody glad. All the church, yeah. Moses tells the people, just be still, for the Lord will fight for you. Moses tells the people, just stand still, and you will see the salvation of the Lord. Just stand still and let God work it out. God then sends an east wind to drive back the waters. He allows the Hebrews to cross on dry land. Pharaoh's armies try to follow him. The waters return to their proper place, and Pharaoh's armies then drown in the Red Sea. Oh, Mary, don't you weep, and Martha, don't you mourn. And just in case there's someone in this room today that believes that their problems are insurmountable, just in case there's someone in this room today who believes that your problems have more power than God, just in case there's somebody in this room today who believes that there's not a light at the end of the tunnel, just in case there's somebody in this room today who believes that your life is about to be over because of what you just went through, I just need to tell you, don't weep and don't mourn, for Pharaoh's armies were drowned in the Red Sea. In other words, I just need to tell somebody that whatever God did back then, God is still able to do today. God is still able to part Red Seas. God is still able to drown Pharaoh's armies. God is still able to free us from oppression. God is still able to feed us in the middle of the wilderness. God is still able to defeat our enemies. God is still able to do the impossible. God is still able to pick us up. God is still able to turn us around. God is still able to perform a miracle. God is still able to rescue you when your back is against the wall. God is still able to make a way out of no way. God is still able to make a way out of no way. God is still able to make a way out of no way. So can I just ask if you have any rivers that seem uncrossable? Or have you any mountains that you cannot tunnel through? I just need to tell you that God specializes in things thought impossible, and He can do what no other power can do. Can I just tell somebody that God specializes in things thought impossible? He parted the Red Sea. He brought down Jericho's wall. He raised Lazarus from the dead. He rescued name of the Lord our God. Perhaps there's someone in this room today who has become distracted. You've taken your eyes off God. You no longer look to the hills from whence cometh our help. But you're looking at everything that's on your left and on your right. You know, one reason, for example, I like to sit closer to the front because I miss a whole lot of stuff that's going on behind me. I mean, there's more behind you than there is in front of you. So there's less distractions. And the same goes with God. When we keep our eyes on God, we don't see all the distractions that are around us. I mean, when we keep our focus on God, we don't get derailed. Matter of fact, you can walk through fire, you can walk through situations, you can say, I didn't even know that was going on. So often people come and say, Pastor, I'm not going to go to church because this person was talking about me, or this person did this, or this person's doing that in the church, or I saw this person over there. And I say, you're distracted. If you keep your eyes on God, you want to see what everyone's doing. You got the wrong focus. So what they talking about you? They ain't got a heaven or hell to put you in. And I'm glad they know my name. Pastor, they don't like me. Okay, do they pay your bills? I ain't paid not one of my bills and I'm worried about you. Put your eyes on God. That's the one who gives you strength from day to day. That's who wakes you up every morning. That's who starts you on your way. That's who keeps food on the table and clothes on your back. Keep your eyes on God. When the Hebrews started to look in front and behind them, that's when they started to think their life was over. Moses said, you focus on the wrong thing. Stand still, and the Lord will fight your battles. I gotta stay in the church, that's why I stay in the Word. My perspective, when we can only see the world as we are, stay in the Word and I can start to see the world as God is. And I don't know if you ever read Revelations, but if you get to the last chapter, what you discover is we do win. Means whatever you're going